Hi, I'm Annette from itsadelight.com, and I'm glad you're here today to join me because I am going to make applesauce today. And this is a quick applesauce video. I have a longer version where I explain several different methods and I show you exactly how you can use 3 different ways. You can use a crock pot on the stove. Today's quick. My favorite way, using my apple peeler. I actually can mine in jam jars, which are half-pint jars, because I just wanted really small amounts this year, but you can do it in pints as well. It's gonna be pink, it's gonna be yummy, no dye, no candy, no sugar. You're gonna love this. So let's jump in and we'll get started. Okay, so as far as apples goes, I am using my favorite apple today, which is the Honeycrisp apple, but I love the Jana Gold too. They really are both a really good sauce making apple. And what I'm going to tell you is I'm using about 20 apples, 19-20 apples is what I counted. I got a bunch of them that are ready here. So I just figure roughly, if you want a pint, it's going to be about 2-3 apples. If you want the half a pint jar, about 2 apples. So you can figure it out very easily about how many apples you need for how many jars you want in your kettle. That's all I go with. Then we're going to add some water to it and that's it. So I have half of my apples already ready right here. And that's what I do. I put them right in my stainless steel pan. We don't need any lemon juice, no sugar, nothing. That is optional, but you don't need it. I don't put it in there. That's great. I'm gonna add about a half a cup, a little bit more than a half a cup, 2/3 cup of water, okay, in there. I'm gonna put this on the stove, get that cooking. I'm gonna finish getting the rest of my apples peeled here. And this is how I do it, okay? I just put them on my apple peeler. It's a little squeaky, and that's all there is to it. I'm gonna just give them a little cut and a slice. I don't want any skin. If it did leave a little skin, I'll take that off. That's optional. But I love this method. I don't have to use the food mill or anything. I just peel and core them, put them on the stove and let them cook down, okay? The big fat apple. Sometimes those big fat apples really take a little bit more trouble getting through the apple peeler, which is why I really don't like big huge apples. Some people love that certain varieties are big and huge. The Honeycrisp often is a big apple, but I actually will usually pick seconds or small Honeycrisp apples because of that, because it's tougher to go through the apple peeler. So this is really all there is to this though. When you use the apple peeler method, a little bit of core in there went out. It's just like no mess, super easy. I just love it, okay? Whoops, we got a little bit more here. Okay, so we've got this heated up on the stove. All we're gonna do is cook these down. You're gonna watch me, I'll pull the masher out. This usually doesn't take very long. I got that little bit of water in here and I've got it on kind of medium. I'm gonna wanna watch it. I'm gonna put the lid on. I want it to steam, cook, soften, and just become wonderful applesauce. So we'll come back and we'll just keep on stirring it and I'll show you as it cooks down and turns into wonderful applesauce, and then I'll even share my little secret tip of how to make it pink. Okay, so literally about every 5 minutes, I'm just gonna come over. Oh, these are just beautiful. They are cooking down nicely. I could probably turn them down a little bit. This is lovely. I can see I got good liquid in there, so I don't have to worry about them burning on the bottom. They're gonna mash up nicely, but they're still quite firm. But literally, I want to stir these rather every 5 minutes, okay? So that they just continue to cook down. I have my canner and my jars in. They're starting to get hot. I got my lids going on low just to keep everything ready so that as soon as this is ready, we'll be able to can it up. Now I'll show you another thing. We'll continue to do this as time goes. I'll get out my little masher and I can see they want to just break up, and I'll just give them a few mashes, a little bit, but they're going to cook down, and I really don't have to use this at all. Not much, depending on how fine you want it, okay? This is looking great. We're going to put the lid on. If you're busy, like I say, you got a lot going like I do today, several different things, I'm going to set that timer for 5 minutes and make myself come back over here and stir them again so I do not forget them. I don't want to scorch the bottom of those. Okay, so I'm just continuing to check this. And I want you to see how wonderful this is looking. It's virtually like sauce. But this is just, this burner it's my bigger burner, and this is just cooking it too much. I'm gonna put this on a smaller back burner because this is just too bubbly, it's too much. It's gonna get scorched. So I'm gonna move it to the back burner just in a second. I want you to just be up close enough to see this, okay? Just look at how wonderful this sauce is. And at this point, what I literally will do is I'm gonna put a spoon in here. I'm gonna taste it to see if it still has got too many chunks, if it's just about right. Let me just taste it a minute. It's very hot, but it's excellent. It does have a few chunks. Personally, we like ours a little chunky. If you can see that, we will love this. This is just perfect for us. If this is too chunky, again, keep cooking it. Put it on low, low, low. I was kind of checking too to see if I needed to add a little bit more water, and I do think I'm going to add just a 1/4 cup, not much. Just a 1/4 cup. Let me stir that in a minute. So, okay, so I'm going to put this, actually I'm just going to add a little bit at a time. You don't want your applesauce to get too thick, and it can get too thick for safe canning. We don't want it to be as thick as pumpkin because that's not something that we can safely water bath. So I'm gonna, yep, that's looking nice. So sometimes you do, I shouldn't say sometimes, almost always I have to add more water in. Okay, so I've added that full 1/4 cup in. I'm just going to continue to cook it just a little bit. I think it's kind of perfect for me, but I'm actually going to cook this down a little bit more because this one is going to be this batch is actually going to be for a grandbaby, so I actually want this one finer. I forgot about that, so we're going to cook this a little bit more. Okay, so our applesauce is done. It is just perfect the way we like it, and we can can it up just like this, or we can add cinnamon and a little bit of beet powder to it to make it be like if we were going to add the cinnamon red hots without adding all that sugar and dye gunk. So if we don't want the cinnamon added to it, because lots of times it seems like these last couple years I just put a little bit of the beet powder in, and then it just turns a nice rosy pink, which I love. And then later, when I'm ready to serve it, depending on whether I'm gonna bake with it or whatever I'm gonna do with it, I can just add the cinnamon at that time, okay? Or, like I say, you can just can it up in this beautiful kind of yellow creamy color. That's perfectly fine also. Okay, so with this batch, I am going to add some of the pink. I'm going to add some of the beet powder to make it a beautiful pink. So let me just show you. I'm just going to shake it in. If you have not seen my videos on, or my course Shake on the Goodness, or my other videos where I show you everything you keep in a shaker jar, watch those. You will love it. Beet powder is one of them. And there will be no flavor to this. Look at the beautiful rosy color that you'll get just by shaking a little bit in. Okay, so I'm just going to shake some in. And there's no, not a real big science. Probably, I would say less, because this beet powder does turn pink. I mean, it's like a natural dye. It just is beautiful and lovely. Oh, it smells so delicious. So that's all there is to getting a beauty. And I could add more if I wanted a little bit more. I can add a little bit more. Like I say, I've never had a problem with the flavor, and just having a nice pink, lovely sauce, okay? So that looks good to me. We're gonna can this up now. Okay, so again, when I show you guys, I always move my canner over here on the counter so you can see me take one jar out at a time. But if you weren't here with the camera, I would keep my canner right on the stove, and I would keep this thing on low and just keep it kind of simmering, okay? But it's all hot, it's all good. So we're just gonna can up. Like I said, I'm doing 1/2 pint jars today. So these are gonna fill up really quickly because they're very small jars. This is just a jam jar size. And I do want to knife this because it is kind of thick, and I forgot my butter knife, so let me grab that. I am going to just run that knife through just to be sure I get any air bubbles out. This is a sticky item, what I call a sticky item. We always want to wipe our rim, but especially with jams, pie fillings, or an applesauce, because it is kind of sticky. And you guys are going to find, I'll put our little ring on, you don't even need any sugar or anything else. If you heat this up later on after you open it from storage and you serve this warm, your family is going to just love this, okay? Your grandkids are going to be begging you for more. So for applesauce, this is all we, whoops, I'll put my funnel on. This is all we do, how easy it is. And of course, there's lots of ways to serve applesauce. Again, on pancakes, in oatmeal. We actually like it with a breakfast meal. I have a friend who just loves potato pancakes. They serve applesauce on potato pancakes. I think it's great with meatloaf and yams, and just kind of serve it almost like you would serve a cranberry relish. Just kind of serve it warm on the side. I think it's delicious, good, yummy, comfort fall food. Okay, this is my last jar for this batch. This really is a beautiful, beautiful sauce today that turned out. Okay, so I have a little bit left in my pot, not a whole lot. We're just gonna save this and eat this tonight is all, okay? So I'm gonna put this canner back on the stove. And again, you would just leave yours on there, okay? I'm gonna turn this on high. Put my lid on, and I'm gonna, whoops, and I'm gonna let this come to a boil before I can start my timer. So, because again, we get busy, I have different things going on, I will forget when it starts to boil with all that I have going. So I'm gonna set my timer for 5 minutes so that I come back to check this to see if it's boiling and I can start my water bath process time, okay? Okay, so my pot is nicely boiling now. And so now I'm gonna set my timer and I'm gonna water bath my applesauce for 20 minutes. And we do it whether it's pints or a half pint, it goes for 20 minutes. Okay, so now we're gonna set the timer for 20 minutes, then we'll come back and we'll take them out of the canner and they're gonna be done. Okay, the timer rang, our processing time was up. I took all my jars out, set them right here on the counter, and they're just gonna sit here overnight. I'm not gonna take the rings off. I don't wanna touch the lids, nothing. We're just gonna leave them at least for 24 hours, not just overnight. And then tomorrow, we'll check the seals to be sure that they all suck down. We'll take the rings off, and then we'll write the date on the top. That's important, so you know next year what's left and which year is what. Remember that after you open it to serve it, you can still add beet powder at that point, add cinnamon at that point. Great pings, I love it, that's music to my ears. And I have a little bit left right here, and I added some to this, and I'm telling you, you guys, this is just delicious. You're gonna have to try this. Super good healthy fall snack. Whether you add the great beet powder and the cinnamon to it, or whether you just serve it plain with no sugar, your family's gonna love it. Your kids are gonna love it. Your grandkids are gonna love it. So enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video.